bienvenidos a su barco ahora, a su barco, a su barco, a su barco.
What is up, guys, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Degenerate Watch. I hope you're all keeping safe and well out there. As you probably already guessed, in this video we're going to be taking a look at some degeneracy on the high seas, namely in the form of narco subs. I'm not quite sure if I'd call the captains and crews brave or extremely stupid to set out to sea in one of these machines, but many do.
Arr, here be a fine vessel, the yarest river-going boat there be.
I'll take it.
Arr, I don't know what I'm doing.
I actually do wonder to myself sometimes about the backstories of some of these guys that take to the seas in these crafts, whether they're doing it because they are actually that desperate for money, or if they're being forced under pressure by the cartels into doing it for them. Because as you can be sure, the top lad won't be getting his feet wet taking the helm of one of these vessels. It'll be some poor unfortunate lackey. But despite the risks, there seems to be a never-ending fleet of these subs lurking in the seas, mainly originating from South America. And considering the distances in which they have to travel and the seas in which they have to sail in, it's quite extraordinary considering the cramped and dingy conditions inside some of these submarines, how many of these men actually make their journeys to the end. And because of the clandestine nature of these operations, it's very hard to tell how many men are actually lost carrying out these journeys every year. So now we're going to take a quick look at what it's like inside one of these submarines. This sub was seized by the United States Coast Guard. And as you can clearly see, you wouldn't want to be claustrophobic going to sea in one of these. I'm pretty sure it's not one bit comfortable when you're actually out at sea being tossed about, and there's probably some sort of fumes coming back off the engine into the cabin somewhere. Another thing to take note of as well is that if you have a mechanical failure out at sea or you have a medical emergency, you can't exactly call for help. Although these guys do have radios a lot of the time, it's mainly to keep in touch with their cartel buddies. Even if you were to dump the cargo overboard, the authorities are going to be asking questions because not everybody has their own submarine. But not all narco subs are created equal, and some have a few more creature comforts than this sub, such as our next one.
High seas pursuits are rare because submersibles are very difficult to detect, and they're getting even more sophisticated.
Son muy parecidos a este sumergible.
This is very similar to the tactical submarines the Navy uses. But ours don't have a bathroom. Unlike us, they don't need to go to the surface for their needs. Other differences are that the aisle is wider, the beds are larger, and of course, the cargo it can hold. This vessel can carry 8 tons of pure cocaine.
Colombia's Pacific coast is a smuggler's paradise, sparsely populated with dense mangroves stretching for hundreds of kilometers. Cartels build their subs on dry land during low tide, and they take advantage of high tide to take off.
During the 1980s, the go-fast boat was the smuggler's vehicle of choice in many parts of the world. But as these boats could be detected on radar, and as radar coverage improved, smugglers started to develop semi-submersibles to try avoid radar detection. One of the first reported narco subs found was in 1988 off the coast of Boca Raton in Florida. The craft measured 6.4 metres or 21 feet. It was designed to be towed by a boat and submersed via remote control. The sub was empty, but officials believed it was for smuggling as the hatch was found only to be openable from the outside. Throughout the 1990s, submarines were found and cargoes and crews apprehended, but they just kept coming, with many more believed to be getting through than were being discovered. Coming into the 2000s, and there was a massive surge in these vessels being used, in part because as technology advanced and became cheaper, it was accessible to more smugglers than, let's say, in the 80s and 90s. But the same advances in technology and the global security situation at the start of the 2000s also aided the authorities in interdicting a lot of these drug shipments through the airports and borders. In 2006, the US authorities detected 3 vessels in total, and at best estimate 25 to 40 semi-submersible subs departed South America in 2007. In the first 6 months of 2008, the US Navy and Coast Guard detected 42 subs off the coast of Central America, but few seizures resulted. In the same year, the Mexican Navy seized a 10-metre or 33-foot sub in international waters about 200 kilometres or 110 nautical miles southwest of Oaxaca, Mexico. Mexican Special Forces repelled from a helicopter and arrested 4 smugglers, and according to press releases, it was carrying 5.3 tonnes of cocaine. Also, the US Coast Guard captured a semi-submersible vessel in international waters 563 kilometres or 304 nautical miles west of Guatemala. It was carrying 7 tonnes of cocaine. 5 days later, an 18-metre or 59-foot semi-submersible sub was seized in international waters 322 kilometres or 174 nautical miles south of Guatemala. Few other subs were seized as their crews scuttled them upon being detected. Moving on to 2009, and the US detected as many as 60 sub-related events and calculated they were moving as much as a tonne of cocaine daily. The same year, 3 subs were seized along the Pacific coast, loaded with 1.5 tonnes of cocaine. The Colombian Navy had intercepted or discovered 33 submarines by 2009. Following the arrest of Harold Mauricio Poveda on the 5th of November 2010, a key Mexican-Colombian link was discovered during interrogations. Information revealed that the guerrilla group FARC, or otherwise known as the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, were behind the construction of submarines and were in collaboration with the Sinaloa Cartel from Mexico to help fund their activities. In 2015, the US Coast Guard recorded the largest seizure from a semi-submersible submarine at a whopping 7.7 tonnes. There were seizures by the United States Coast Guard in both 2016 and 2017 off the coast of Panama, and in 2017 they also seized 1.7 tonnes of cocaine in a submarine off the coast of Texas.
¡Auto Submarine! ¡Ahora! ¡Auto Submarine! ¡Auto Submarine! ¡Auto Submarine! ¡Ahora! ¡Auto Submarine! ¡Auto Submarine! ¡Ahora! ¡Auto Submarine! ¡Auto Submarine! That's gonna be hard to get on! ¡Auto Submarine!
That clip there was the crew of the United States Coast Guard cutter Monroe interdicting a drug smuggling sub on the 18th of June 2019, and President Trump at the time even went on to commend them on their bravery. This footage here now is from 2019 also, when the Spanish authorities apprehended a 20-metre semi-submersible off the coast of Galicia in Spain containing 3,000 kilos of cocaine in the first known incident of a drug submarine crossing the Atlantic Ocean, although it is suspected that this may have occurred in the past, but this is the first one that's actually been detected. Following on from an international tip-off that a drug submarine was headed across the Atlantic from South America, authorities in Britain, Portugal, Brazil and Spain worked closely together, and the Spanish authorities scanned the sea for any drug submarines that may be approaching. Usually these drug submarines will rendezvous with another boat off the coast and have the cargo brought inland from there. They very rarely ever come right inland themselves. But due to bad weather on the night, authorities believed that the rendezvous was called off, and they decided to head for calmer waters and sit out the storm and wait for another time. When the sub was spotted, police surrounded the area and did a stakeout on the sub in order to wait for a rendezvous, but nobody came, whether due to a communication breakdown, due to the bad weather or for some other reason. On the night of the 24th of November 2019, after nobody having shown up to meet the submarine, the crew decided the best thing to do would be to sink the submarine and its cargo. A night vision equipped maritime patrol aircraft happened to be passing overhead at the time and spotted 3 men fleeing the scene. They alerted police to the location and 2 men were apprehended while a third one, a suspected Spanish man, escaped. The 2 men that were apprehended were Ecuadorians and they were both wearing wetsuits. The authorities tried to secure a line to the submarine to stop it from going under, but they weren't successful. Over the next few days, police divers inspected the submarine on the seabed while they waited for heavier ships with better equipment to come and refloat the submarine. Once they managed to refloat the submarine, it was then towed into port for further inspections. Authorities estimate the cost of building this submarine was around €2.5 million, and they reckon that it was capable of making multiple trips across the Atlantic, although they can't confirm that it had done that. This submarine here was seized by Spanish authorities during an intelligence operation which resulted in the seizure of a large amount of drugs and cash. Over the years, the number of these submarines seems to be increasing dramatically, and the authorities now estimate the Narco sub fleet to stand at around 1,000 submarines, with more under construction all the time. Costing around $2 million on average, a lot of these submarines are designed to be disposable, and after just one trip they're sunk and abandoned. But when you take into consideration that these submarines can move enough cocaine in a single trip to generate more than $100 million in illicit proceeds for the traffickers, then $2 million just seems like small change. But because of better technology and with it becoming even cheaper, there are now subs being built that are designed to make multiple trips. So we've looked at 2 of the main types of narco submarine, namely the true submarine and the semi-submersible. The semi-submersible riding just below the surface and is nearly impossible to detect via radar or sonar and difficult to spot visually from the air. And as you could guess, a true submarine is a submarine that can fully submerge below the surface of the water. In July 2010, authorities in Ecuador seized a fully functional, completely submersible diesel-electric submarine in the jungles bordering Ecuador and Colombia. It had a cylindrical fiberglass and Kevlar hull. It was 31 metres long and had a conning tower with a periscope and air conditioning. The vessel had a capacity for about 10 tonnes of cargo, a crew of 5 or 6 people and the ability to fully submerge down to 20 metres. But there's a third type of narco sub that we haven't looked at yet, and that is the torpedo.
Mapping the evolution of drug trafficking technology, a row of impounded vehicles sits at Bahia Malaga's naval base. Sailors call it the museum. One of the latest innovations are these unmanned subs. They can be towed behind boats, and if the trafficker feels they're about to be raided, they can cut it loose. Then later, thanks to an electric beacon, they can recover it.
They're trying to innovate every day because they have money, but we are trying to be ahead of them. The narco traffic moves during the night, during the weekends, and especially when the Colombian soccer team is playing, we have to be aware because something is happening at sea.
Colombian intelligence work has led to the capture of 25 subs. 96 have been detected in recent years. It's an uphill battle, a cat-and-mouse game, trying to stop the flow of cocaine on and now under the water.
And in relation to those torpedoes, I've actually read a couple of articles where they've been actually disguised as logs, so that when they cut them free of the boat and if they are seen on the surface, the authorities think they're just a log floating in the sea. But there's one thing that we can be sure of: these guys are making absolutely staggering amounts of cash from their drug running operations. And as you can see from this footage here, the guys are making that much money they don't know what to do with it. They have a home zoo here. And of course that raises another question in relation to the welfare of the animals and how they're being treated. And it just goes to show how far removed these guys are from the lackeys that are out in the submarines transporting the cargoes. Well, I hope you enjoyed our dive into the world of narco subs today. I was waiting the whole video to drop that pun. We're going to have more videos related to smugglers coming soon, including some of the seizures that happened here in Ireland, and we'll also look at other methods to use such as overland and air as well. So make sure you don't miss out on those videos or our next video here in Degenerate Watch by hitting that subscribe button, and make sure you have notifications turned on so you always know when we drop a new video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button as it really helps the channel out. There's links down below in the description to our social medias. If you don't follow us already, head on over there and give us a follow, especially on Facebook, as we'll be more active over there in the coming weeks and months. Plus there'll be the odd bonus clip and video I'll be uploading over there too. As I previously mentioned, I plan on doing something when the channel reaches 5,000 subscribers. We have some exciting months ahead on the channel as we hopefully reach the 5,000 subscriber mark, and we'll also be celebrating the channel's first birthday in June too. There are lots of ideas in the pipeline, so stay tuned. Well guys, that's just about it from me for this video. I'll be back again soon with another video. I hope you'll join me then, and if you can't wait until then, why not check out one of the videos on screen now. Until next time, stay safe, take care, peace.